every once in a blue moon, a rare, special individual comes along who enters the collective consciousness and furthers, I guess, society's understanding of gay culture. I'm thinking of people like RuPaul, Ellen DeGeneres, Dana International, and Boy George, people who very much take LGBT issues and equality to the mainstream. Almost 1 year ago, a new icon appeared on a stage in Copenhagen and very much took the world by storm. Today we are here to talk about her phenomenal autobiography, Being Conchita, We Are Unstoppable. A big hand, ladies and gentlemen, and those of you who have transcended gender, for the one and only Conchita Wurst! Welcome to London. Thank you very much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
I should say,
look,
the book.
Here is my book.
Look at that.
It's also quite gay, actually.
Yeah, we are. It's
so look at
gay.
this. Look at that. Maybe they should sell it in a package.
There you go. I should say that for mid-April, the weather's not normally like this. So actually, I think this is yet further proof that Baby Jesus does love the LGBT community. Because we've done this for, especially for you. This is for you, Conchita.
Oh, thank you.
So let's talk about the book, first of all, if that's all right. How did it all come about? And have you always wanted to do a book?
No. No, really, I have to be completely honest. I mean, there are publishers out there thinking that my life is interesting enough to release it as a book. They asked me if I want to have my story told, and I said, thank you, but no thank you. No, because I'm 26 years old, and that's quite young to write down your memoirs, your autobiography, or however you want to call it. And I said, no, that's just, I don't really feel that anybody's interested in a 26-year-old life. But they kept on asking me, and I said, okay, if we release a book, which is about me, it needs to be a book that I would buy myself. And books that I buy are featuring many pictures. And that's why I have many pictures in mind. Because I think with the little stories around them, you can understand it maybe even better. And yeah, so now sitting here after the whole process of telling my life to my ghostwriter, Daniel Bachmann, was such a beautiful experience, and getting the chance to look at my life in one piece was such an intense moment. I learned so much about myself. So now I'm sitting here and I'm actually very proud.
I mean, it's fantastic. I read it over the weekend. I sort of mainlined it. I stayed inside. It's phenomenal, and it's beautifully written as well. It's really, really beautiful. At the moment, as I am a 30-something gay man, of course I'm in therapy. And I've been finding the process of going through my life interesting, but also sort of, it feels like raking stuff up. How has it been for you going back to your life? Has it been fun to look back? Has it been painful? What have you learned things?
Well, because I decided years ago not to focus on negativity anymore, it was for me quite okay to go through my teenage years. Because the stories, especially in the LGBT community, when it comes to being a young gay teenager, they are beyond horrible, and I had a tough time, let's put it like that, but there are stories, they were just like beyond belief. So it was really quite okay for me, and even passing that just showed me that I'm not a bitter person at all, I don't think in revenge, or I do it because everybody said you can't.
Well, let's face it, you won. Anyway, it doesn't matter whether you want revenge or not. You got it. So it's fine.
But people tend to ask me now, do you feel better now? And I'm like, I felt fabulous before, and I do it right now. So, basically, I'm a very selfish person, because everything I do just for me. And it's thank you for showing up, because we were just talking when the mics was off. I'm always still surprised when so many people show up because of me. That's overwhelming, and thank you for your interest. And I hope you like the book.
It's really good. The other thing that I really loved, I've never been to Austria. I'm about to. I'm covering Eurovision for a gay magazine this year.
Good
So it'll
choice.
be my first time in Vienna. And I was really struck by the whole book from start to finish is a love letter to Austria. You've made Austria just sound beautiful. How important to you is Austria, your Austrian identity, and the fact that I guess you are probably presently the most famous Austrian in the world, perhaps? Kind of.
Well, there was Mozart.
Right now. Would I rather listen to Rise Like a Phoenix or Mozart? Possibly Rise Like a Phoenix, if I'm honest.
So no, I don't see myself as the most famous person of Austria. Anyhow, I do love Austria very much, and obviously, you know, as I'm telling in the book, I had like a fairy tale childhood.
Yeah.
You know, I was living in the mountains, and there was fresh air and trees and whatever.
Babbling streams.
Yes.
Sing babbling streams.
Yes, it was the Oompa Loompa land. And I do love Austria, and I do love Vienna. You know, I really got the great honor to be allowed to travel a lot these days. But still, I mean, I could have said I moved to London for several times, which I will probably someday. But I still love being in Austria. Obviously, my friends are there, my family,
Yeah.
but we are living in a fairy tale. Once you visit Vienna, you will see what I mean. We have castles, and you feel like the Empress is serving you coffee.
I need that. I need some travel tips before May, if that's all right. So we'll go back to the beginning. So we'll sort of take the autobiography sort of chronologically. So we start off living very much in rural Austria, in the mountains. And the phrase that you used in the book when you first started school was that some of your classmates had a sixth sense for otherness, and I completely got that. And like you, I tried everything I could to blend in. Nothing worked. Whatever I did, I stood out. I mean, how was that for you? I mean, it's hinted at that it was a really tough time, but how did you get through it?
I think being a teenager itself is just a tough time, and nobody had just fun growing up. I mean, you have to find yourself, you have to find the things that you like, and you know, you really have to struggle with yourself. And so in the beginning, I thought, obviously there's something wrong with me, because the society told me gay is not right, and you have to do something against it. And I tried to you know, blend in every way you can imagine, but it never worked out. And I think over the years I realized, okay, there's nothing wrong with me, and I can do whatever I want with my life if I'm not hurting anyone. And once I reached that point, nobody could harm me anymore, because I knew who I was, I knew who I am, and that was the moment when I wouldn't listen to anybody's opinion.
I think we get a thick skin. I think members of the LGBT community, I think we learn to develop, and it's a shame we have to, but I think we get very strong, the strongest people.
I don't know if it's just because of sexuality, because I think being a teenager, as I said, you can have red hair and everybody's bullying you.
Yeah.
So I think you'll get a thick skin being a teenager, basically.
Do you think now, I mean, I'm not sure what it was like for you in Austria, but when we were young, there weren't people like Conchita. There just weren't. Do you think now it's going to be different for today's young Toms? Do we think now that we've got people like you, things are going to be easier, hopefully?
Well, I wouldn't dare to say that I have the power to inspire anybody, you know, because just can repeat myself, it's just me. It's just, I'm not Madonna. It's just me. And so, but yes, we do have now RuPaul, and as you said, Ellen, and all these people from the community. So obviously it's more visible than it has been before, and also an obvious thing that it is different now. I hope that it will get easier for the kids to come out, to be comfortable with who they are. But you know, we'll never know if it is like that.
I still think it's tough. I get a lot of letters after This Week's Gay. Still young people finding it so hard. But I do think it's helping, I really do, and I think fingers crossed, things will continue to get easier, I hope. Can we talk a bit about Tom?
Sure.
Is that all right? In the book, it's the way you write about Tom is so lovely, and in particular, I think my favourite bit of the whole book is a letter you write to Tom in the book about, and you say that long before Conchita came, that she was latent within Tom, and she was always there. She was always beneath the surface, which I thought was so cool, and I got that. Do you still, I mean, now that you're so in demand as Conchita, is it still important to you to make time for Tom?
Well, sure. Each and every time one period is quite long, I miss the other, you know. Once I'm sitting at home, and I do have many meetings where I don't put my wig on, you know, go without the makeup, like singing in the studio or whatever. I wouldn't paint my face. And each and every time, if this is like a week or something, on the weekend I'm like, okay, I need mascara. Get me some mascara. And so I really do enjoy both sides of my life, and I just want to have everything.
Yeah, why
life
not?
can
Yeah.
offer. Exactly.
Do you have a tracksuit? I just can't imagine you ever chilling out in a tracksuit. I can't see it in my head.
Well, I do.
That's the headline right there, I think. Where did you get to? We've done Tom. So, actually, hands up, did we all see Eurovision? Hands up if you watched the victory. Okay, so we all saw Rise Like Phoenix, we all saw Eurovision. So I'm actually not going to spend too much time on it, because it feels that, you know, we know that's the one bit we really know of your life. But if you could sort of sum up that night in 3 words, what would they be? Put you on the spot.
I can't remember a thing.
Can't remember a thing. It must have been insane.
Yes, and it's true. I really can't remember a thing, and all of the memories I have now, I have because of all these YouTube videos. I don't have any memories through my eyes.
Amazing.
I think that's like a secure whatever my body did, that I'm not gonna pass out on stage or something.
Yeah.
So maybe that's why I'm like, oh right, okay, I know. Yeah.
That might be what this event's like for me. Taking pictures. What I found really interesting is what happened immediately after, which was there was a lot of love and a lot of positivity, and I think in the LGBT community, we really felt that it was a real moment. And but there was a lot of negativity as well. I mean, were you expecting that? There was some really hurtful stuff written immediately after, and during, not just after, during. Were you prepared kind of for that?
I couldn't care less. Really, I find it quite funny, because if I don't like something, I don't put that much of time and effort on telling them how much I don't like them. You know, I don't understand them, so I take it as a compliment. Because I'm obviously interested enough to go to your computer and type in some awful things. And I'm like, thank you for your time.
If you're getting people scared, then you're doing something right. If you're upsetting people and ruffling feathers, you're winning, I think.
Well, but with nothing actually, you know, because I'm really hurting no one. And if you don't want to look at me, just, you're warmly welcome to leave. You know, I'm not, you know, forcing anybody to like me. If you like me, great. If you're not, well, yeah, I don't like anybody, you know. So.
Yeah. Now this is very serious now. Serious question. Following Eurovision, you were invited to speak at the European Parliament, which must have been incredible. Now, obviously, big time here politically. We're about to have our general election, and Europe is something that is being very, very much thought about and very much talked about. And there are people within the UK who would have us opt out of Europe, who would have the UK no longer part of Europe, which terrifies me. And in the book as well, you talk a lot about, now that you've travelled as extensively as you have, how much you love going from Germany to France to Belgium to Luxembourg. And you also mentioned the worry of borders closing. I mean, what are your hopes for the future of Europe, and where do you see it going? Do you think is it going to get better, or I think it's going to get worse?
Oh well.
Heavy question.
It is. It is, and as I said, you know, I think being in Europe is such a precious thing because it's so wide on cultural influences, and then you can learn so many things by meeting so many different people. It actually is such a short amount of time. I mean, it takes 2 hours to go from Vienna to Madrid, and you're in a whole new world.
Yeah.
And I think that Europe made it quite easy to experience that.
Yeah.
So, you know, again, I'm just talking for myself. I think it's so beautiful to be able to travel without borders.
I agree completely. And more than that, I'm really genuinely worried that if we were to leave Europe, we might not be allowed to do Eurovision, which actually fills me with a horror that I can't even begin to get into.
Ask Australia.
Ask Australia. We don't want to be on that tip, do we? But I think Australia might win it.
I think I'm not commenting on that.
I think I'm allowed to comment. I strongly suspect Australia, it could do all right. I think Azerbaijan as well, that's my other tip. If you're going to put a bet, I think Azerbaijan could
There
do
are,
well.
to be serious, there are so many strong songs this year, and it's really not easy to win this time. It's really not.
Have you heard the UK entry?
No, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I haven't heard all of the songs yet, but I will. Don't look like that.
It's not great, to be honest. I'll say that. Sorry, I should be really patriotic. It's not.
We will see. We will see.
You're fine. But that said, this is so not what I have on my piece of paper, but I'm talking about Eurovision with Conchita Wurst. But it is actually, it's an up-tempo one, and there are so many ballads this year that it could do okay, I think. Just on the there's so many ballads that the fact that it's a dancey one,
yeah,
it could do alright.
You know, I think the key is, if there is a key, you have to really feel what you're doing, because I don't want to say I'm a good example, but in this case I am. I had many songs on my list to be a possibility to perform at Eurovision, and there were many songs where we said, well, this is good for radio, this could be this, and this could be that. And then Rise Like a Phoenix came about, and I just fell in love with the song immediately. And I said, okay, I'm sorry, stop the engines, we're going to take this one, we have to start all over again. And that was, I think, a month before we had the deadline.
Oh wow.
So, and I couldn't care less if it would be a success or not, because, you know, I felt it, and that's the most important thing. I think you can rise and fall with what you believe in,
yeah.
You know, because otherwise I could have blamed somebody else by, you made me pick this song, you know. So
no, I mean, and there's what I love as well is that the performance, because Eurovision can be such a circus. The performance was so simple. It was just you and some light and the dress and the song, and you walked it. I remember I wasn't there last year, but my friend was, and he, as soon as he saw the semi, he was like, Austria's going to win. So yeah, because it was just perfect.
yeah, I really wanted to keep it as simple as possible, because, you know, I was thinking about how would Shirley Bassey do it, and she would probably have like 120 people sitting in the orchestra and doing like fabulousness, and I heard there are just 6 people allowed, so I thought, okay, this is not going to happen. So just myself, you know.
Just you. It was perfect. This is exciting, and I didn't know this until I read the book. Your year, I mean, I don't know if you've had a chance to sleep or sit down, but you've had the most amazing year.
I'm sitting right now.
Yes, this is it. This is the sit down. I mean, since you've become a muse to Jean-Paul Gaultier, you've worked with my icons Pierre and Gilles, who, yeah, and this could be the best thing in the world. You were mentioned on RuPaul's Drag Race. You're on the final of RuPaul's Drag Race, which is surely the best thing in the world ever. I mean, what was that like? But I mean, who else would you like to work with? Are there other things you would still like to do? Kind of?
You know, I really got the honor to meet so many great artists, starting with fashion, as you mentioned, Jean-Paul, Karl Lagerfeld, Valentino. I met Vivienne Westwood. And you know, in each and every one, they have one thing in common. They just love their life so much. And that's the most important thing. You can't lie to a customer, to an audience. You have to be completely authentic.
Yes.
And you have to, that's what I meant, you know,
Yeah.
even if nobody would ever have bought a Jean-Paul Gaultier t-shirt, he would have loved it.
Yeah.
And that's the most important thing. And this is really something so inspiring that I got the chance to actually learn from those people, or getting like the approval that that
Just
I'm not
do you,
selfish, that it's the only way to be successful.
Yeah, and I think that's, in a room full of publishers and authors, you can only write the book you can write. And the more you spend looking at what other people are doing, you're just going to get it wrong. You can't copy people, you can't imitate people, you can only do you. The album's about to come out as well, isn't it? Is that right? Yes. Can you tell us anything about the album?
Well, it will be released on the 15th of May, and it definitely features Rise Like a Phoenix. And again, here is, you will hear a very personal track list. You know, in the first place, it's really entertaining myself. And so I obviously have like big ballads, but I also have some dance numbers, because you know, I love to go to have a little dance here and there, and I would love to do it to my songs. So it's really exciting. But the track list, we did the order of the right track listing weeks ago. And we were thinking about the meaning of the songs and the melody and stuff, and obviously, and I felt myself reading all these lyrics and seeing it's whether about finding yourself or sleeping with somebody. That's basically the things I'm going to sing about.
But that's pop music. Finding yourself, finding someone to sleep with. There you go. All of pop music ever. Brilliant. Now the other thing, and this is my last question before we come to your questions, so do be thinking. In the book, there's not a lot of your personal life. I'm not going to start asking nosy questions, although I really want to, obviously. But then you said you like being nosy as well. Was it John Paul you're asking nosy questions to?
Yes.
Yeah. Of course, it's your chance. You might not see any of this. So I'm not going to ask nosy questions, but how important is it for you, especially the bigger and bigger you get, to actually keep something private, something that's just for you? How important is privacy?
I had a little career as Tom in 2007, and I realized back then, once you decide to be the public eye, you're in the public eye constantly. And it started really annoying me, getting asked for a picture while I was sitting with my friends in my private time. And I wouldn't understand back then that this is actually part of the deal, you know. If you make that decision, you have to go with it. And, you know, I'm not really good in you know, doing compromises. Is that the right word? So I just wanted basically everything. And I decided to be the stage persona I always wanted to be, because I feel, you know, I feel more free to be overdoing it and being bigger and more glamorous, and you know, and as Tom, nobody would recognize me. And I really enjoy that. So
actually, that's genius. You can take off the disguise and then
exactly.
Ooh, amazing. Okay, thank you. I'm hoping now there are going to be loads of questions from the audience. Otherwise, it's just going to be me and Conchita talking about Eurovision for the next 15 minutes. So, do we have any questions? There's a roving mic somewhere. There we go. There's our first question.
Hello. Conchita, I think it's fair to say you did more for trans equality in 3 minutes than what Western leaders have done in 30 years. And you know, you pushed Putin and Russia into a corner with just singing a song, which is marvellous, incredible. But what kind of pressure does that put on your shoulders? I mean, how does it feel? How do you deal with that incredible honour to have that, you know, great power? That's something I'd be really keen to hear about.
Thanks for your question. There's this thing called expectations, and I would really recommend not to have any expectations in life. because you get disappointed quite easily. And that's the way I see it. You know, I never promised anything, but speaking out my beliefs, standing for what I think is right, and it's not the ultimate truth. So I don't really feel pressure or responsibility, because I never promised anything. You know, I'm just doing what I feel is right, and please correct me if I'm wrong. You know, so I think, you know, I don't really feel pressure, because, you know, the only person I could disappoint is myself, and for all the others, I'm sorry, but I never promised anything.
But all the best pop music, when pop music does get political, I think it kind of almost has to happen by mistake. And when you look at somebody like Boy George, I remember when Boy George first came on Top of the Pops, people didn't know if it was a man or a woman, and it really blew up, and I don't think anybody meant for that to happen, it just did. And then Lady Gaga and Madonna, I think they are at their best when they just perform. You're a performer and not a politician, and thank God, kind of, you're better as a performer. Thank you. Any more? There's one there.
Hallo Conchita, mein Name ist Anne, ich bin aus Leipzig, studiere in England. And my question is, we were talking about how you inspire people. Who inspires you? Is there a literary character or an artist that inspired you throughout your journey, your life?
Hey, I get inspired by everything and everyone, every day. I really do. But to name like big names that inspired me, definitely when I was very, very little. I remember the first song that I heard, which was not in German, was Goldfinger by Shirley Bassey. And that just, I thought, oh, okay, that's the real deal. That's what we're talking about. And till this day, I think it's Shirley Bassey and Celine Dion. Because, I mean, you can think about Celine Dion whatever you want, and you can like her music, but the outstanding thing about this artist is, I've seen videos of her singing at the age of 12.
Yeah.
And, you know, we all experience pop singers getting better and better and better. She started out being flawless. Her voice was on point, I think the second she was born. And this is an outstanding talent. You could never reach that perfection. I mean, you can train your voice to come like a good level, but this is just unbelievable, and this is till this day very inspiring and also frustrating, because I'll never reach that, you know.
People down the front, thank you. So don't get stepped on.
Such a graceful. I love that.
Hi, first of all, can I just tell you that I absolutely admired you at Maischberger last night.
Thank you.
I'll be honest, someone owning a show by talking about 15 minutes in total of 90 minutes, you absolutely blew me away.
Thanks.
And that leads me to my question. What I was wondering about is, how do you manage to stay so calm, even if people to your face tell you that you're wrong and what you're doing is wrong? Because there were some really, really horrible comments by that politician, and I was just amazed by how you were literally just sitting there and not reacting outwardly.
Very unpolite again. I don't care. You know, I don't care. And I also said it. We had a little talk show yesterday. It was aired in Germany, and there was this politician saying really harsh things. And you know, I respect his opinion, and I think the only problem is when people get judgmental. And if they do, and if they do it in the way he did, I'm like, okay, you're just judging yourself, and that's enough. You know, I was just sitting and staring at him. We were talking, and he was talking to the TV host. And
what was his politics? Where was he coming from?
oh, very conservative, and saying being homosexual as a sickness and stuff. And you were talking in this direction to the host, and you were all the time. He was like looking at me like that. And one time I was sitting like this, and one time I did this. And then for a second he was and I really like that. You know, that sometimes you just have to shut up to get your point across.
Now, you know all about Freud coming from Austria. He would call that transference, was his special word for that. You hate in others what you hate in yourself. Well, there you go. And this question here as well?
Hello. I just wanted to ask about, you talked about the ghostwriter, and I wondered, did you get to choose who was your ghostwriter, and if you did, what was important to you in that choice?
Yes. The German publisher, they sent me a few names, and I have to be honest, I'm not familiar with writing a book or authors. And yes, and then I met Daniel Bachmann, and he was the first one I met, and I knew it immediately because he's very, very calm, and he's writing in such a beautiful way. And it was really like we had these 4 days where I told him my story, and it was such a wonderful experience, you know, because sometimes when you're in the situation giving interviews like for 6 hours in one row, you're really, sometimes you're like, oh, okay, that question again. And in the first step I thought, okay, this is going to be like a very, very long interview, so it's going to be really, you know, annoying from time to time, but it wasn't a second. Because he would ask me things that no journalist would want to know. I mean, he would ask me, oh, how did it smell at your grandmother's place? You know, it was so, so beautiful. And these 4 days turned into, I think, 6 weeks of thinking about all the things that I experienced, that I had the honor to my parents, my family. That's just, you know, you talk about it and you realize I realized how privileged I am. And that's just a great gift, great gift.
Thank you. Are there more? There's one right at the back now. Sorry, Mike person, we're keeping you. It's your cardio for the day.
Hi, Conchita. You said something earlier, and you said, "I don't care," when you were asked about the politician, and I just wonder, what do you think that you could really survive in the real world with that sort of mentality? And I say that because I kind of struggle with that a little bit. So when people say, "Oh, you're so weird for going up to that guy and dancing with him in the club, why don't you allow the guy to approach you?" and then they look at you like you're really strange. How do you not see as a sort of when people say, "Oh, that's an escapism from reality," you're not really living in the real world. Then how do you really justify "I don't care"?
You know, that's definitely something very personal, and that's just the way I can't see you right now. No worries, no, you can sit down, I'll find my way. That's definitely something that's maybe just working for me, you know. And there are definitely moments where I do care, but I don't care if it's just on me, you know. I definitely care if it's against, if he would, you know, but he was just talking to my face, and I was in this situation, and I was like, well, what, you wouldn't listen, you know, and my time is too precious to argue with you. And I prefer to stand in front of the European Parliament, getting the chance to get in my point across, than talking with, I try to say that very respectfully, and not so important politician, you know, when it comes to like stuff. I would rather talk with your boss than with you. You know? So that's maybe why in some situations I don't care, right? Because give me the phone, I'll call your boss, maybe, you know.
I think sometimes it's very powerful as well. So that person, it's very powerful to just let people talk. Sometimes, and I think you say in the book that silence is incredibly powerful. And when you get people like our UKIP people, sometimes the absolute best thing you can do is just let them talk, because the more they talk, the more stupid they sound, and the more mistakes they make, and the more trouble they get themselves into. So I think sometimes the best part of I Don't Care is just leaving people, just leaving them to it.
Thank you. Yeah, that's exactly what I meant.
Any more for anyone? There we go.
Hello. I first wanted to say thank you for being an incredible inspiration. And I also wanted to ask what advice you would give to young people who are struggling with their identity and their confidence.
That's such a tough question, and people tend to ask me that very often. Because I really just, I'm sorry for repeating myself, but you know, I don't live the ultimate truth just because I think that's the way it worked for me. It's not the way it works for others, like the same we were talking about before that question. You know, I think if you dare to find yourself, if you really dare to find out your flaws, accept them, find out your talents, accept them as well, and if you really reach the point in your life where you kind of know what you want from life, because I think we're changing constantly, so you never really know yourself 100%. But if you reach the point and get like a very, get in your comfort zone, is that understandable?
Yeah.
I think that will be a good start to get a happy life, you know. I think you really, especially when it comes to young people, because I know by myself, and I think that many feel the same, you are mainly afraid of losing the ones you love. And again, that's very just me and the way my parents educated me, especially when it comes to family. I had a very, quite, how can I say, well, you know, I thought back then, not back then, that's a lie, but now, just because those people are your parents, they don't have to be your friends, you know? And that's very tough, I know. But my parents always, they always, how can I put it? Of course we love each other, but we have this, I think, very healthy relationship by saying, okay, I don't agree with you, I'm not going to talk to you right now, you know? We're really, and I have the privilege that my parents became my friends. But once you're in this situation where you come out and your parents are not agreeing, you have to trust that love will find you. And even if your parents, you know, they will take you, they need time as you need yourself. I mean, didn't you struggle yourself?
Yeah.
So, with yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, by thinking there's something wrong. And they need that amount of time as well, like we did. But at the end of the day, you will find people who will go the way with you, definitely.
I think you're very modest. I think just the fact that you exist sends out a message to young LGBT people. People can see how well you're doing. And I think it reduces the fear. I think you make being an out woman look easy. And I think that makes it easier for young people. So I think you are helping. I think truly you are helping. But that's what I think anyway. Are there any more questions? There's one. Thank you. And there's another. I think we've probably got time for 2 more questions.
I'd like to ask if you like reading books and which books you prefer. Who is your favorite author?
Oh wow. I do, as I mentioned before, I do like to read, but a book that I read from the beginning to the end should be very good, because I get bored quite easily. So that's so cliche, but I love to read the Vogue. You know, as I mentioned, I love pictures and, you know. But yes, I did read obviously some books at school. That was, I think I have to be completely honest, I think that was the last time that I read a book from beginning to the very end.
Well, let me give you this one. There you go. A gift to you.
Oh sure.
It's about Russian transgender person.
Russian transgender person. Oh, that sounds interesting. Thanks.
Becoming Aggie. There you go. Thank you. And there was another question over there, yeah, which may have to be our last one.
Hello, thanks for your time. I would like to know in which exact moment did you decide that your look would be a woman with bob? How did you reach this conviction, this genius idea? Thank you.
Thanks. There was not a specific moment or a situation where I decided to say, okay, now that's it. I'm doing drag since I'm 14. And obviously I didn't have a beard when I was 14. So I tried out everything, you know, long hair, short hair, blonde, dark, whatever. And I remember doing my eye makeup because I wanted to try something new, and I didn't shave the beard, and I just did it, you know, for my own entertainment. And then I thought, oh wow, with the eye makeup and the beard, that looks quite nice. And that was the time when I did drag in a regular way. I started to host a burlesque show, and then I said to Kitty, who was the boss of the burlesque show, and I said to her, would you have a problem with having a bearded lady as a host? And she said no. And that's why I thought, okay, that's actually a good reason to keep the beard. I don't have to shave week by week, so that's a match. And it turned out being so much more than just letting the beard grow. And on the other hand, it's just a beard. You know?
It's genius. It is genius because
but I didn't invent
so
it.
recognizable.
I didn't invent it, and there are so many, especially drag artists, doing the bearded lady, but hardly anyone would know her.
Because I did it. I did for my lovely publicist. Oh no, this is embarrassing. My lovely publicist. This is me as Conchita.
Oh wow.
But the thing is, I look nothing like you. But
that's not true.
Beard.
At least we could have had the same dad.
between the wig and the beard, a tiny bit of makeup, people immediately like, oh, you could be Conchita. And so it's genius because it's so now synonymous with you. It's so you. So I think, yeah, it's kind of branding. It's marketing genius. It's now, do we have time? Right, there was a chap over there with a tie. Do you still have a question? Okay, this will have to be our last question. Oh no, they're saying time. Sorry, man with tie. Good date later. Lovely. Thank you. All that's left for me to do is say thank you very, very much for coming at a very busy book fair. And can we please give a massive thanks to Conchita Wurst?